Hey guys, my name is Oleg. I go by Oleg C3D on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. I stream my 3D journey basically, and I've been doing 3D art for about 3 years now. I've done some professional work, but mainly it's just a hobby at the moment while I'm progressing my skills. So this will be a quick video, well, a quick / in-depth video of my computer purchase. So I've been using a gaming laptop for the past 3 years to do my 3D renders. It has a 3060 RTX in it and a Ryzen 9 series AMD CPU. And now I got myself a computer from Aftershock, which they pre-built computers. You can do custom ones, or you can buy one of their already set up ones, which I did. So I am no super computer expert by any means. I know some a lot of basic stuff. I've built a computer before for myself, but now I just didn't have the time and didn't want to put in the effort. So I just kind of weighed my options and got a pre-built one. So I'm going to just break down everything from the unboxing to some of the strange things that I find about Aftershock to what my computer is capable of. And overall, I'm pretty happy with the purchase. So hopefully this video will help you kind of understand and help you make a decision for yourself. So this is basically the computer that I got. As you can see, this is still the model that I bought with the 3-fan 4070 Super. Here, this new one that they're pre-building has a 4070 Super with dual fans. Now, I looked into this and apparently, so this is the card that will be in it, the new one. And then this is the one that I currently have. Here you go. Super Eagle OC 12GB. These are pretty much exactly the same cards and with the exact same capabilities, but that is essentially the graphics card situation. Now it has an AMD Ryzen 7 7800X 3D CPU, which is one of the best CPUs in the market. Now, the motherboard. These computers are still getting built today, so I'm guessing these motherboards aren't too old. I mean, they facilitate some of the newest AMD Ryzen chips, so I assume they're pretty modern. Now, my problem with it is it's got an PS-2 IO slot, right? Which is for like a keyboard and mouse. Now, I don't know if how many of you like grew up in the early 2000s, late 90s, and remember those like big mice with the wheel inside of them that were like rolling around. Those are the ones that had one of these like PS/2 connections plug into this port. I was looking up on like why new motherboards would include this, and apparently some people prefer having the either mouse or keyboard connected directly to the PC, that it like, because it's not as it's even weird of putting it, like, unless you're like a super nerd and need like a specific way to access your computer if something goes wrong or whatever, then apparently these are great. But most people don't give a damn about this. So I don't know why they decided to put these motherboards on like gaming PCs. Most people with gaming PCs will have like a Razer mouse and keyboard, or from Logitech or SteelSeries or whatever, right? And they use USB. They don't use the old 6-pin like round plug-in. So it baffles me. I don't know why. The second part, you have to keep in mind that this has only one M.2 connector for SSDs. It does come with the 1 terabyte SSD, so this will be fine for now. Maybe someday down the road when I'm bored, I will swap it out, but right now, whatever. So yeah, you have to keep that in mind. The rest will be just normal SSDs. Another problem is that there is no USB-C port, which kind of sucks. What baffles me is that if you go back to their computers, for example, so this was mine pretty much. If you look on the lower end, right, still the same price, but it has a Ryzen 5 7600, which is a worse card, and it's got the same RTX 4070 Super card, but the motherboard is this one. Now, this motherboard has 2 M.2 slots, and it also has a significant amount higher of like USB ports. It's got 1 USB-C slot. I mean, look at this. Look at the comparison. Yeah, look at the comparison. I mean, this has like 10 ports, I'm pretty sure, USB ports. And this has 6. And it's got 2 at the front of the case, so there's also that as well. Yeah, so I don't know why they decided to do it like that. What baffles me even more, like if you look at a level 10 one that they have with the 4090 and the same processor that I have, they still are using this B650M gaming Wi-Fi card, which blows my mind. If you're gonna put in $5,000, at this point, just build it yourself and get like a solid setup, because for $5,000, like, yeah, I understand that the 4090s are expensive, but at that point, you really want to min-max your setup and, you know, really pay attention to what you're putting your money into. Because why the hell do you have a $5,000 computer with an old mouse and keyboard slot, right? So really, just this is what I wanted to talk about, if you should build your own computer or if you should get a pre-built one. Because before purchasing this computer, I went on like PC case part picker or whatever and like put together very similar specs, but like different components. You can get a few better parts if you build it yourself, but overall, all those parts combined pretty much equal the same amount as this price for me. But then you have to, like, on top of that, you have to make sure to pick all the right parts that work together. You also have to make sure that you know how to build it. And then you have to put in all that time and effort, right? So there's like a payoff, right? So the parts weren't that much better than the computer I can get now, like pre-built. Therefore, I found it justifiable to just get a pre-built one. Here are some benchmarks. So I ran Cinebench for single core and multi-core. And as you can see, it seems pretty good. I'm not, full disclosure, I'm not like a benchmark person. I'm not 100% sure what a lot of this means, but you know, if you're interested in that kind of thing, here are the numbers. Then I also ran the supposition benchmarks, which is the GPU test. And yeah, I think I kind of like compared the general results online and it seems normal. For other things, I use the HW monitor. Oops. There we go. To just keep an eye on like how the temperatures are going during like gaming or rendering or whatever else. And I usually play in 4K because I have a 4K monitor. I played like Diablo 4 on the highest settings, but not ray traced. Just the normal highest settings, not ray trace high settings. And it plays around like 120, 150 FPS, and the temperature goes up to around 70 degrees. And in most games, the temperatures cut off between like 65 and 75, depending on what kind of game it is and how well optimized it is. But the fan curves itself, they're pretty good. They're custom fan curves. If you open the BIOS, so the resizable 3D bar is automatically enabled. So if you watch any of like the Linus Tech Tips, like computer building, optimization tutorials, he will always talk about like the XMP profile from the RAM and the resizable 3D bar. So both of them were enabled. Since this is a AMD Ryzen system, it's not going to have XMP. I'm pretty sure they use Expo, which, as far as I can remember, it was enabled for like a 3D artist and what kind of machine you want. You want the best possible GPU you can afford. That's the number one. Number two, you want a pretty good CPU. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be really good. It just has to be okay or good. Your main processing power comes from the graphics processing unit or the GPU. And make sure you get an NVIDIA one. Preferably one that has ray tracing, so RTX. Because they use CUDA cores and they pretty much render everything much faster. Especially if you're like a Blender user or even any kind of really any kind of 3D rendering engine, you want the RTX cards because they're pretty much the best on the market. If I pull this back up, so Aftershock has the workstations. So you got like the i7 RTX Super, $4,000. It's okay, it's good. So that's like a 20 core CPU. That's why it's so expensive. But this like workstation, that's not for 3D artists. So that's a workstation for like Adobe users basically, because predominantly like video editing and stuff runs off your CPU, and like video encoding usually runs off your CPU, where like 3D rendering and all that kind of stuff is your GPU. So that's why like they have like these ridiculous Intel systems. I wouldn't recommend these systems unless you like really know what you're doing. The RTX A4000 Like you're gonna compete with like a 4070 basically with this kind of card. Well, you're not even gonna compete with a 4070. The 4070 basically destroys the RTX A4000, and they're selling it as like what was it? Modeling Pro. I'm guessing it's like 3D modeling related, but again, you have like an Intel Core i7 20-core CPU, which if you're doing 3D stuff, this is pretty much like a waste of money, basically, unless you're doing simulations, which is more CPU heavy, as I understand. But now with like EmberGen and all these kind of programs and Unreal Engine, how they render particle systems in real time on GPU, that's all going to shift. So you won't even need good CPUs most likely later on. So you're really just paying $4,000 for this, which is a worse GPU than what I have, right? Sure, you might have like a better motherboard and all that kind of like stuff. If you're going to go for like a workstation, make sure you know what you're going to use it for, and then go towards that. If you're going to do 3D modeling, 3D rendering, all that kind of stuff, then please, please, please get something with the best possible GPU that you can afford. If you're doing Adobe predominantly and like Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, all that kind of stuff, get one with a good CPU, because you know you won't regret it. Or you get something like this that has a really good CPU. Sure, it's 8 cores, so it can't really compete with like the 24 core ones, but really good CPU, really good GPU, even though this isn't exactly the one that I have, but really good GPU. And then eventually little by little go up to like a 4090 once you can afford it. And you know, yeah. Or once the 5K series comes out, go towards that. Final thoughts. I like the computer. It achieves what I needed to for now. So I'm pretty happy with the purchase overall. The build quality seems pretty decent, pretty good. You know, say what you will about like the fan layout, because there is, if you're like a super min-maxer with how you want to cool your PC and like optimize everything, apparently there's like this fish tank cold case. It draws in air from the side, from the top, and from the bottom, and then it all pushes it out with the exhaust fan here. So it does create that kind of like pull through, but also pushes the air into itself. So I'm not like a super expert, but looking at the temperatures when I'm using the PC and when I'm like doing some games or rendering or whatever, it's all pretty solid. Like it goes up to 70, 75 degrees depending on what I'm doing. And the fan noise isn't actually too bad. It is significantly quieter than what I'm used to, so I might be a bit biased here because I am a gaming laptop user. And for anyone that has owned a gaming laptop, you'll know that they get pretty damn loud and they heat up to like 90 degrees. So this is nothing to me. So in terms of like noise, I'm not the best person to ask, but personally, I don't mind it at all. I think it's quite nice. The lighting itself, I wish you could turn it off. There is like a button at the top that says RGB that you can like cycle through different like light profiles. I've never been a RGB person, so I don't really care about this at all. Downside, doesn't have any USB-C ports, which I've covered in the previous area before. Performance-wise, it's really good. I like it. I am quite happy with my purchase. I think these guys did really well. And now I'll go into the like the worst part, like my only like really big problem, really big problem with what happened. I can probably show you this address because it is a publicly accessed like actual place on the Gold Coast, so it should be fine. As you can see here, the Team Global Express is the courier that Aftershock uses. And yeah, so it's not looking great. It's a 1.3 stars, 132 reviews. And these are pretty much all about drivers not delivering packages, like barely paying attention, just completely misregarding the delivery time and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so people are very unhappy with this service, and I cannot believe that Aftershock uses them. Now, what happened to me is that when I ordered the computer, I put it under a business address. It came on Friday. I got a notification that, whoops, failed to deliver. It went back to the store in Labrador, which is like around 30-minute drive, or no, like around 40-minute drive to where I live, from where I live. So on Friday afternoon, I drove to the depot thing in Labrador, and it turns out that the guy hasn't arrived yet at the end of the day. So the lady there, she was actually super nice. And she said, look, if you want, we can put it on hold for you, or we can try to deliver it again. But you know, like you can just pick it up if you want to put it on hold. So I said, yes, please put it on hold. I'll pick it up on Monday. So the weekend is over. Just before work, I drive up there, and it turns out that they didn't note down, or maybe the driver didn't see it, but he just took the package to re-deliver it again with the same information that it failed in the first time. The lady was still there, right? And she was like shocked, and she felt very apologetic. And then she like texted, emailed, called the driver, like all three, and told him the specific instructions that I gave her. So then the package got delivered at the end of the day, which is good. But she was like super nice about it. I wasn't mad at her. The driver, yeah, I don't know. They have this policy where they can't deliver packages to places of business if it's just the address but not the business name, which brings me to the other problem that I had. So when I ordered this computer and I put down the address to where it's going to be delivered, I thought I didn't put down the unit number of where the office is. I submitted a ticket for my order on Aftershock's website saying, hey, this is my order number. I've ordered this. Please include that this is the name of the business. It's on this, and this is on the corner of this and that street, and it's off this like main road. You cannot miss it. Please add that to the details. I called them later. They're like, yeah, we got the details. And then they emailed me just to confirm, but they only showed like the address. But the guy specifically said that like, I'm going to include these details for the post office. Now, whether there was miscommunication or not, who knows? But those details weren't given to Team Global Express, so I can't like fully blame them for it. But yeah, you know, it wasn't fun because it is like a 3,000 Australian dollar package that just keeps like touring around the Gold Coast. On the other hand, the guys at Aftershock, they were always super friendly, super helpful. Their customer service was awesome. Aside from like this hiccup with the postage, I have no problem with them. I'm pretty sure this is like a Singaporean or like a Malaysian company that like branched out in like the Oceanic region and into Australia. But yeah, it seems like their quality of work is actually pretty good. So far, no complaints. I'm pretty sure I've had this for a month, for just over a month now. One other thing, it says here, wait, next day shipping. It's like one other thing that's like annoying is that I ordered my computer, this one. I ordered it on the 8th of July, on the Monday. That's when the money went through, bought it. The shipment, I'm looking at like the Team Global Express page. The shipment was created on the 12th of July, which is the Friday. So it is definitely not next day shipping. Not even close. It was picked up at some point in Victoria, and by the time it got to the Gold Coast, so the first failed attempt was on the 19th of July, and 22nd of July is when I finally got it, on the Monday. So, you know, it's not bad, but also this is not true at all. No, I can see it. I can see when the shipment got created and when I ordered it. But yeah, overall, good brand. I like the computer. It seems to be very well optimized and taken care of. And yeah, so I'll leave it with you guys, whether you think it's worth it or not. Leave me your thoughts and stories in the comments below, please, to let other people know that want to buy from Aftershock, like what they're getting themselves into, because I had like a good experience. You might not have. Let me know what you think, like the video. Also, don't subscribe if you want more PC review videos, because I'm a 3D artist and a graphic designer. I'm not like a PC reviewer. I might do a review on my laptop that I've been using for like the past 4 years. But yeah, this is not like a regular thing. But yeah, so I hope, yeah, if you're interested in 3D stuff, please subscribe and like the video. Like the video anyway. Anyway, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.